Have you ever found yourself caught in a whirlwind of overthinking, speaking endlessly, or struggling to stay focused on what really matters? If so, you're not alone. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get lost in the noise of thoughts, conversations, and distractions. But what if I told you that the key to a more peaceful and meaningful life lies in doing less, not more? In this video, we'll explore the transformative power of Stoic philosophy, specifically the power of thinking less, speaking less, and focusing more. Ancient Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus believed that true peace of mind comes from mastering our responses to the world around us. By simplifying our thoughts, speaking with intention, and focusing only on what truly matters, we can eliminate unnecessary stress and live with greater clarity and purpose. If you're tired of feeling overwhelmed and want to reclaim your mental space and peace, this video is for you. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into the powerful principles that can help you lead a simpler, more fulfilling life. Number 1, reduce stress and anxiety. Have you ever found yourself overwhelmed by your own thoughts, as if your mind is caught in a never-ending loop? From the moment you wake up, your brain is already racing, replaying yesterday's regrets, predicting tomorrow's problems, and overanalyzing what others might think of you. It's like being trapped in a mental traffic jam with no exit in sight. This mental noise doesn't just steal your peace, it leaves you exhausted. But what if the way out isn't through more thinking, but less? What if peace comes from creating space, not filling it? We often mistakenly believe that the more we think, the more control we gain over our lives. In reality, overthinking only traps us deeper in the maze of our own doubts and fears. Obsessing over things beyond our control brings no solutions. It only steals our calm. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Man is disturbed not by things, but by the view he takes of them." When someone criticizes you, it's not the words that hurt, but how you interpret them. If you perceive failure as a personal flaw, it leads to self-blame. But if you shift your focus to what you can control, those same events lose their power over you. Picture yourself sitting on a quiet hilltop at sunset, the wind brushing past your face as the sky shifts from gold to purple. There are no screens, no messages, no voices, only silence. In that moment, you realize how much noise your mind carries daily. The peaceful environment doesn't change your problems, but it changes your perspective. You begin to see clearly, free from the distortion of fear or urgency. This is what happens when you allow yourself to be still. You stop reacting and start reflecting. The calm, confident people you admire are not fearless. They've simply learned to silence the mental noise. They speak with purpose, think with intention, and focus their energy where it matters. You can train your mind to do the same by asking, is this thought useful? Can I control this? If the answer is no, let it go. Thinking less isn't neglect, it's wisdom. It helps you conserve mental energy for things that truly matter, instead of being caught in the storm of endless worries. As you let go of unnecessary thoughts, you'll feel lighter, clearer, and more in control. Reducing anxiety is just the beginning. Thinking less unlocks composure, resilience, and inner strength. Imagine being the person who remains calm when the world around them is falling apart. What gives them that strength? Let's find out in the next section. Next. Number 2, embrace calm and inner peace. In our fast-paced world, where busyness is often worn as a badge of honor, taking a moment to pause is a radical act of self-care. True well-being goes beyond keeping our bodies active. It also includes tending to our mental and emotional health. Finding time to simply breathe, sit in stillness, or disconnect from the noise can do wonders for our peace of mind. These quiet practices are often overlooked, but they serve as the foundation for lasting calm and self-awareness. However, in a world that's constantly buzzing with noise, filled with shallow conversations and endless mental chatter, how do we find that stillness? The answer is surprisingly simple. Talk less and let silence speak. The fewer words we use, the fewer chances we have to say something we regret. Idle talk doesn't just waste energy. It can also cause confusion, harm, or misunderstandings. The philosopher Epictetus once advised, Remain silent for the most part. Speak only when necessary, and then briefly. This timeless wisdom is more than good advice. It's a powerful life approach. It teaches us to develop discipline, avoid needless conflicts, and preserve our inner calm. Those who master their speech also shape how others perceive and respond to them. Consider Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history. He's not known for flashy speeches or dominating conversations. Instead, Buffett listens more than he speaks, especially during high-stakes meetings. His quiet demeanor is not a weakness, it's a form of strength. By holding back his words, he gives himself space to observe, reflect, and make wise decisions. And when he does choose to speak, his words carry significance and authority. There's a notable story from a pivotal meeting with top executives at Berkshire Hathaway. While others passionately debated and voiced their views, Buffett remained silent. His calm presence became more influential than all the noise in the room. When he finally spoke, just a single clear and deliberate sentence, the entire meeting shifted in his favor. His silence wasn't about withdrawal, it was a firm, composed statement of confidence and clarity. Knowing when to stay silent and when to speak puts us in control of our emotions and helps us navigate the chaos around us with ease. Silence, in fact, holds great power. Why is silence so impactful? Because it disrupts expectations. It forces others to pause and reflect. People who try to provoke reactions through manipulation often expect immediate outbursts, anger, confusion, or defensiveness. But silence throws them off balance. In those moments, control belongs to the one who holds their tongue. Conversely, those who speak too often can dilute their own value. Even the most intelligent person may lose respect if they talk without thinking. But those who are mindful of when and how they speak earn attention and admiration. Speaking less doesn't mean being distant or antisocial. It means choosing your words with purpose. When speech becomes intentional rather than impulsive, it becomes a powerful tool. And once you master your words, you'll notice that others' negativity no longer controls you. You'll feel less reactive, more composed, and overall, you'll enjoy a deeper sense of peace. In a time where digital distractions dominate and noise surrounds us, creating moments of intentional silence becomes a spiritual reset. It's in those silent pauses that we reconnect with our inner voice, the one that gets drowned out by the world's constant chatter. Silence allows clarity to surface, and through that clarity, we can begin to understand ourselves better and respond to life with more wisdom. Ultimately, calmness is not about escaping the world, but about rising above its noise. When we cultivate silence and speak with intention, we begin to embody a presence that is felt without words. We gain not only the peace within, but also the quiet respect of others, because the loudest voice in the room is not always the one that speaks the most. Number 3, the power of simplicity, a journey to focus. Have you ever found yourself sitting at your desk, ready to work but unable to focus? The distractions around you, the constant pull of your phone, or even your own wandering thoughts can make staying on task difficult. It's easy to feel like time slips away without accomplishing anything substantial. One person struggled with this exact issue. Sitting at his desk, staring at an empty document on his screen, he found his fingers hovering over the keyboard. Despite having plenty of time, his mind would wander to endless worries about the future, yesterday's conversations, and what others might think of him. Time wasn't the issue, it was how it was being spent. He wasn't truly working, he was simply drifting. Then one day he read a quote from Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This moment sparked a change in him. He realized that external distractions and irrelevant thoughts had been taking up too much of his mental energy. He decided to make a shift, creating a clutter-free workspace, turning off his phone, and consciously focusing on his tasks. Each time his mind began to wander, he asked himself, "Is this worth my energy right now?" Gradually, his productivity improved, and he noticed a sharp increase in his ability to stay focused. He discovered that the key wasn't working harder, but working with intention. The realization was clear. It wasn't about working harder, it was about working smarter. More tasks and more time were not the solutions. What was needed was to cut through the noise and focus on what truly mattered. A clutter-free environment became his first step. His phone was placed out of reach, notifications were turned off, and distractions were minimized. He learned that to focus, he had to create an environment that supported his efforts. Whenever distractions arose, he would pause and refocus. Instead of letting his mind drift to thoughts about the past or future, he would take a deep breath and ask himself one simple question: is this worth my energy right now? It didn't take long to realize how much time and energy had been spent on trivial concerns. Worrying about things outside his control or stressing over hypothetical scenarios was a drain on his focus. The more he repeated this practice, the sharper his ability to concentrate became. The transformation was most evident when he tackled a challenging project that had been looming over him. As he sat down to work, distractions tempted him to check his phone or browse social media. Instead, he decided to commit to 1 hour of focused work. He kept his phone out of reach and focused solely on the task at hand. That hour was incredibly productive. His mind was clear, and the project began to move forward effortlessly. After the hour ended, he felt accomplished and energized, a stark contrast to how he had felt before. This change didn't happen overnight. There were still moments of struggle, but with time, the practice of mindfulness and simplicity made it easier to stay on track. He understood that true productivity wasn't about multitasking or being busy. It was about focusing on one task at a time and dedicating full attention to it. This story serves as a reminder: being busy doesn't always equate to being productive. The key is to focus on what truly matters. By clearing mental and physical clutter, we create space for meaningful work. When we focus on what is important and eliminate distractions, we open the door to success and purpose. Number 4, enhance self-control. Self-control remains a key area of scientific inquiry, as it is considered a crucial strength in leading a more successful and fulfilling life. Fortunately, there are numerous ways to improve this ability. The ability to regulate negative emotions and impulses is a hallmark of an experienced leader. A person with self-control doesn't easily get caught up in emotional turmoil or let external factors derail their progress. In today's fast-paced world, where even small actions can have long-lasting impacts, self-control is more than just a desirable quality. It is a powerful advantage. Stoic philosophy has long emphasized that true calmness and resilience come from within, not from external circumstances. One effective way to cultivate this is by thinking less, speaking less, and focusing more. Overthinking often traps us in a cycle of worry and insecurity, robbing us of control. Likewise, excessive talking can reveal our weaknesses and lead to unneeded complications. By practicing self-restraint, we become masters of our emotions rather than being ruled by them. Imagine being insulted during a meeting. Your first instinct might be to get angry and defend yourself to prove you're not easily intimidated. But what if you chose not to react immediately, instead taking a moment to pause and simply observe? In this brief silence, you regain control. You are no longer led by emotion, but stand in a higher position where your calmness speaks volumes. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This encapsulates the essence of self-control. We can't control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. Whether it's an insult or an unexpected event, it's up to you how you react. Without self-control, it's easy to be controlled by fleeting emotions. A harsh word can ruin your whole day, or a minor setback can sap your motivation. But when you train yourself to focus on only what truly matters, you free yourself from unnecessary emotional burdens. You stop allowing others to dictate your mood because you understand that emotions are just temporary reactions, not lasting truths. Speaking less also helps you avoid making rash decisions. Words are powerful tools. They can build your reputation, or they can destroy it in an instant. By practicing restraint, you learn to speak with intention rather than reacting thoughtlessly. A leader doesn't need to raise their voice to assert authority. Sometimes, well-timed silence is the most powerful statement. Think back to a time you were in a heated argument. Did you find that the more you spoke, the worse the situation got? This is common, as in arguments, we often focus more on responding than on truly listening. However, if you choose silence, allowing the other person to fully express themselves, and only speaking when absolutely necessary, you'll likely find that most conflicts can be resolved without confrontation. True self-control stems from focus. When you focus on what truly matters, you naturally let go of trivial distractions. You stop paying attention to gossip or worries about things you can't control. You recognize that your energy is precious and should be used for what's truly important. Life will inevitably challenge you with bad news, harsh remarks, and unexpected obstacles. But by training yourself to think less about the insignificant, speak less when unnecessary, and focus on what truly matters, you'll see that you can handle any challenge with a steady mind. Self-control isn't something you're born with, but a skill that can be developed with practice. Start today by pausing before you react to any situation, taking a deep breath and asking yourself, is this worth my energy? If the answer is no, let it go. You don't need to engage in every argument or be affected by every criticism. By controlling your responses, you ultimately control your life, and this is the real power. Over time, you'll find that your ability to stay composed enhances your decision-making, relationships, and overall peace of mind. Number 5, communicate more effectively. Effective communication is a cornerstone of success in both personal and professional life. It shapes how we build relationships, solve problems, and influence others. Yet many people struggle with communication, whether it's because of misunderstandings, lack of clarity, or an inability to listen. The ability to communicate effectively is not an innate skill, but one that can be developed through practice and self-awareness. Good communication is not just about speaking clearly, but also about ensuring that the message is received, understood, and acted upon as intended. The first step in effective communication is to listen actively. Too often, we focus on what we want to say next instead of fully hearing the other person. Active listening involves not only hearing the words, but also understanding the underlying message. This means paying attention to nonverbal cues, such as body language and tone, which can often convey more than words themselves. By truly listening, you show respect for the other person's perspective, which fosters better understanding and reduces the chance of miscommunication. Next, clarity is key. It's easy to assume that others understand our thoughts, but often we fail to express ourselves in a way that others can follow. When communicating, be concise and direct. Avoid jargon or overly complex language that could confuse the listener. Instead, focus on making your message as clear and simple as possible. The clearer your communication, the easier it is for others to understand your intentions, which ultimately leads to fewer misunderstandings and more effective collaboration. Moreover, emotional intelligence plays a significant role in communication. Being aware of your emotions and how they impact your interactions with others can improve how you convey your messages. For example, if you're upset, your tone may unintentionally convey anger or frustration, which could cause the listener to become defensive. Managing your emotions and being mindful of how they influence your communication will help you maintain a positive and constructive conversation. Another vital aspect of communication is feedback. Effective communicators know that feedback isn't just for giving, it's also for receiving. Being open to feedback allows you to adjust your message or approach, helping you improve how you interact with others in the future. Likewise, when offering feedback, be specific and constructive. Focus on the behavior, not the person, and aim to offer solutions instead of just pointing out problems. This type of communication helps build trust and fosters an environment of growth and understanding. In today's fast-paced world, where most communication happens through text, social media, or email, it's easy to lose the nuances that come with face-to-face conversations. Nonverbal communication, such as eye contact, gestures, and posture, can't be conveyed in written forms. Therefore, it's important to adapt your communication style depending on the medium. When communicating online, be mindful of tone and clarity to avoid misinterpretation. Lastly, patience and empathy are essential to effective communication. It's important to remain patient, especially when discussing sensitive or challenging topics. Take the time to understand the other person's point of view and respond with empathy. By showing that you care about their feelings and perspective, you create a more positive and productive environment for dialogue. Ultimately, the goal of communication is to build stronger relationships resolve conflicts, and work together toward common objectives. When we communicate more effectively, we create an atmosphere of trust and cooperation. By listening actively, speaking clearly, managing emotions, giving and receiving feedback, and being mindful of our communication style, we can transform the way we interact with others, leading to better outcomes in every aspect of life. Number 6, build respect from others. In a world full of people eager to voice their opinions, there's a powerful truth. Those who speak less often gain more respect. This isn't because they have less to say, but because they recognize that words hold greater impact when used thoughtfully. In a culture that thrives on constant communication, the ability to practice selective silence creates authority. People who speak sparingly understand that the true value of words lies not in their frequency, but in their substance. As Marcus Aurelius once stated, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." The greatest leaders aren't those who constantly talk, but those who know when to stay silent, allowing their actions and quiet wisdom to speak volumes. In a world where everyone is in a rush to speak and be heard, it is this selective silence that creates power. Those who speak little do so not because they lack something to say, but because they understand the importance of the weight of their words. Marcus Aurelius also pointed out that a person's value lies not in the flowery words they speak, but in the magnitude of their actions and pursuits. The most influential leaders know when to remain silent and when to speak, which is a principle that Stoic philosophers have upheld for centuries. They did not believe in lengthy speeches or rhetorical persuasion. Rather, they practiced self-control and inner strength, avoiding the temptation to express or prove something unnecessarily. True respect is not gained through excessive talk, but through calmness, composure, and self-restraint. Words are a double-edged sword. They can elevate or diminish a person's standing. Someone who speaks too often risks losing their authority because their words lose value. When one cannot discern when to stop speaking, they fall into the trap of meaningless chatter. Observe true leaders. They are not the loudest in the room, but the ones who speak the least, yet their influence is profound. They listen more than they speak, carefully choosing their words when they do. A leader doesn't need to shout to assert authority. Instead, calmness, restraint, and the ability to speak at the right moment earn them respect. When you control your words, you also control how others perceive you. Perhaps the most difficult challenge is learning to embrace silence. Many people fear silence, associating it with awkwardness or weakness. However, the strongest individuals are those who are at ease with silence. They understand that sometimes a silent gaze or a thoughtful pause can carry more weight than an endless stream of words. Have you ever tried resisting the urge to respond to a provocation? Have you ever held back and simply observed instead of reacting immediately? If so, you'll understand that silence is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It forces the other person to reflect, making them question their words and actions. Respect doesn't come from trying to impress others with your words, but from having the confidence not to speak excessively. Your words must carry weight, and the only way to ensure that is by knowing when to remain silent. The respect you gain from others is a reflection of the self-respect you have for yourself. When you no longer feel the need to prove yourself and can control your words, you send a powerful message. I do not need to speak to assert my value. My presence alone is enough to make an impact. Have you ever wondered what truly makes life meaningful? Is it success, recognition, or the achievements you've attained? The answer is simpler than you might think. It's not about what you possess, but about how you focus on what truly matters that shapes the quality of your life. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by too many distractions, unnecessary words, or a cluttered mind, now is the time to live more simply, more deeply, and more meaningfully. Embrace the power of silence, for what you are about to discover may change the way you see life forever. Number 7, live a more meaningful and simpler life. In our pursuit of success and happiness, we often find ourselves overwhelmed by a multitude of distractions that don't truly matter. The human mind is a powerful tool, yet instead of mastering it, we let ourselves be consumed by unnecessary thoughts, worries about the future, and the noise of constant chatter. Have you ever noticed how those who live with less complexity often seem to have a greater sense of contentment? This isn't because they lack ambition, but because they know how to focus on what truly adds value to their lives. When you take a step back and reflect on your own life, you may come to realize that much of what fills your mind only serves to increase your stress and distract you from what's important. Regret over the past, anxiety about the future, and trivial conversations that serve no real purpose. Letting go of concerns that are beyond your control is liberating. It allows you to live without the weight of unnecessary stress, helping you focus on what really matters. You'll find that you can stop worrying about how others perceive you and let go of unimportant debates. You'll also find the mental clarity to focus on things that truly enrich your life. Consider the story of someone who was once obsessed with seeking approval from others. This person would constantly worry about how every word he said was interpreted, fearing that silence or hesitation would make him seem indifferent. He spent endless hours online defending his opinions and seeking validation. One day, he made a choice to stop. He let go of trivial matters, spent more time with loved ones, and focused on his own well-being. His life became simpler and, in turn, more meaningful. This shift towards simplicity is powerful. Thinking less and focusing more doesn't mean abandoning your goals or dreams, but rather investing your time and energy into things that truly matter. Simplifying your life creates space to savor moments that might otherwise be overlooked. A quiet dinner with family, an afternoon reading a book, or a meaningful conversation with a friend. When you strip away the unnecessary, you unlock the freedom to experience life in its purest form. Living simply doesn't mean giving up on ambition. It means directing your energy toward what truly matters. The more we focus on the essentials, the more room we make for joy and fulfillment. When you embrace simplicity, you begin to realize that happiness isn't about accumulating more. It's about appreciating what you already have and not being weighed down by unnecessary worries. This mindset leads to a richer, more meaningful existence where each moment is lived intentionally. So take the time to ask yourself, what is truly important to you? How much of your time and energy are you dedicating to those things? Simplifying your life allows you to focus on what brings you true happiness and fulfillment, and that's what makes life meaningful. We've delved into the power of thinking less, speaking less, and focusing more through the lens of Stoic philosophy. These principles, from controlling our thoughts to reduce anxiety, speaking less to maintain composure, to focusing more on what truly matters, serve as guiding pillars to help us live a more peaceful, purposeful, and effective life. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus remind us that although we can't control the external circumstances of our lives, we can control how we respond to them. And this response begins with mastering our thoughts, words, and focus. These principles are not just philosophical ideas. They are practical tools we can incorporate into our daily lives to cultivate a more centered and resilient mindset. Now think about your own life. Are you practicing these Stoic principles? Which of these areas do you find most challenging? Reducing overthinking, managing your speech, or staying focused on what truly matters? Reflect on this and share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this content insightful and helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. This way you won't miss out on more enriching content designed to support your journey of personal growth. And be sure to click on the video appearing on your screen now to continue exploring Stoic philosophy and its impact on your life.